Okay, we have a funny question, also from Josh. Is the last from Josh, and it's of course about psychedelics. And he's just asking, what is the weirdest experience you had, and could you take anything from it, and does it have any relevance to be awake?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm experienced in psychedelics, and I've had some strange experiences. And they've been informative, and they've caused me to wonder about what this world really is. Am I just seeing one level of reality and there are other levels? Or this is reality, but my understanding of it is changed because I've chemically altered my brain? That's an open question, see, and it's not one way or the other. I mean, some people the shaman, for example, you mentioned, will tell you there's this other world, that's where I go to speak with the spirits, and then I come to you and I heal you because ancestors have spoken, and whatever the gibberish is. So they are arguing for the many worlds theory. There's many spiritual planes, many levels, and we can move around among them. The one that I'm more attracted to, although I don't rule that other one out, I'm not in a position to rule it out at all. But the one that I'm more attracted to is more naturalistic, which is we're animals on a planet. We have brains. As we matured as a race, we found that there are these plants that grow, and we got into a relationship with them, and that relationship has gone on for countless eons. So our evolution took place under the influence of those plants and in combination with them. We're all life together. So, for example, cannabis grows and there's cannabis receptors in my brain. So that relationship must have developed long, long ago, probably not in humans, in earlier animals, because they can eat cannabis too. So I'm more into just imagining that this is an animal thing. It's part of our actual being. So that takes me back a peg. You've read my books, so you already know this. But if somebody's listening and hasn't, no, let's not go there. Let's stay on this. So then there are other substances that are not natural. They're human-made, and they tend to be a bit stranger, more chemically. They're kind of plastic fantastic, which I think LSD falls into that category. Another trip that I had that was really bizarre was ketamine. Ketamine. You've heard of that? Have you experienced any ketamine?
Yes. It's a very strange thing.
Well, I had a friend who was a medical doctor, and I had him inject me.
Wow, a subcutaneous, like
you
like I don't know in English, a subcutaneous, like under the skin.
Oh, no, intravenous. Yeah, subcutaneous. Subcutaneous is under the skin. That's a slow thing. This is an injection, and he says count backwards. I go 100. Didn't even get to 90. That's what you saw from the outside, but from the inside, it was like space travel. And I'm zooming around, and now I'm out in space, and I keep hearing these sounds, and they go like this, boom, boom, yeah. And I notice that these sounds correspond to these various spheres, planets, like hitting each other, glancing off one another. And each time that would happen, it would go boom. And then after he brought me out of it by just stopping injecting it, a few minutes later, I'm conscious again, very tired, although it had only been a few minutes. And later, reflecting on it, I understood that I had just seen the music of the spheres, as it's called. You know that expression, the music of the spheres?
I'm very familiar. I grew up with this area, which my uncle and friends of him in Germany really wrote about books and stuff, and he's also like a whole company around it. And they call it the cosmic octave in Germany, or in German it's kosmische Oktav. And it's like the spheres has a certain rotation and a time where the rotation is complete. And when it's actually a frequency, and when you put it in half, you get 1 octave. It's like a musical harmonic music thing, and it's the same note. Yeah? And so you can put it half and half and half and half and half, and then you can make it hearable. So you can tune a tuning fork. I have one here, and you can hear or make hear the quality of the rotation of planets or the Earth itself.
Okay, so the octave is a physical law. It's a vibrating string, has harmonics and all of this. There's a physical laws. Okay, so I don't know about the music of the spheres. What you say probably makes sense because what you're speaking about is the same kind of mathematics. If you cut it in half, you would get a higher frequency. So that's all interesting. And, that's a whole amazing subject, all of that. Amazing, amazing. But the question about the psychedelics that's most fascinating to me is, did I really experience the music of the spheres? Or had I heard about the music of the spheres and it was in my mind already, had been, and when my ordinary judging physical body-based, ground-based self was completely shut off, was that just accessible? It was always there, see, in the brain, in a physical way. Neurons have recorded this idea. And now when I get the psychedelic drug, the idea is shown to me. It was always there. Okay. That, you see, those are two different interpretations of the same data. And what I say, and I think this is one of the most basic ideas in both of my books, I don't think anybody is situated properly to make a judgment on that, which is right, or if there's some third possibility that we can't even imagine. I don't believe there's any human on this planet who knows these answers. And that's where I lose patience with the shamans and the gurus and all that, because they speak with this unwarranted certainty. To me, it seems unwarranted. Because I look at my own life, which is all I have to go on after all. Because the books I've read, I read them through my eyes and understood them the way I understood them. And the things that I've seen with my eyes, I interpreted the way I interpreted them. So that's all I have to go on is my own mind. There isn't anything else for me but my mind. Someone could say, well, you could listen to Nisargadatta. No, I can't listen to Nisargadatta. I can listen to Robert's take on what Nisargadatta, his vocalizations, I can hear them, but I can't understand them except in the way that I understand them. So it's all me, if you understand this point. Is that clear? Everything is me because I have no other apparatus in order to perceive the world except oneself. Okay, so oneself is all there is in this sense. It doesn't mean other people don't exist. It means that I only see them the way I see them. You and I might see the same speech, and you would understand it one way. This Trump is a great man. He wants to save us from the lizard people. And I'll hear it in a completely different way. See, so there's no Donald Trump out there for either one of us. You have a Trump in your brain and I have one in my brain. I think that we're all like this. I don't know how someone could not be that way. And so I see that human understanding is limited. It's not unlimited. We're animals. We have a certain capability of understanding. We have a certain mind, a certain brain. We have the sensory apparatus that we have. Other animals see things that we will never see, colors that we can't imagine, all of this. They're there, though. They're in the spectrum. There's another thing, the color spectrum. The same colors that we see on the screen now, you raise them a few octaves and they're radio waves. Mm-hmm. And a few octaves beyond that, they're microwave radiation, and a few more octaves and they can kill you. They're penetrating radiation. So you see, this is all mystery. We're humans. We perceive what we perceive in a very narrow band. And the universe is vast, and most of it is, we're blind to most of it. And so when people make these pronouncements like a shaman does, I just have no patience for it. I don't listen. I don't say he's wrong, or she could be right, but, there's no real basis for believing any of that. I made a chapter in the 10,000 Things about that, where a woman is talking about having gone to a shaman, American Indian shaman, lived with them, and when he was dying of liver disease, he went to, or kidney, whatever it was, he went to another shaman, imagining that this person would cure him, but he wasn't cured. He died. And I said, well, of course he died. The idea that he could live forever was a deranged belief. He's deranged. And the guy his shaman who taught him all this was deranged. So now he's ill and dying, and he goes to some deranged crazy cat to be healed. Well, that can't happen. You see, and so unless we are open to this understanding, we will give these people too much power just because they're called shamans. It's just a word. It's a shaman, a word for some cranky old fuck who believes in all kinds of shit. Put magic potions and you drink it and now you're in this other world. I don't know about that. Maybe there is no other world. I feel there is not another world that we know about. There's this naturalistic universe. Here we are. You live and you die, you breathe. Yeah, okay, but I could be wrong. And knowing that I could be wrong is my freedom. I don't have to believe that to live. That's how I feel, but I don't have to defend that idea. I don't have to argue for it. I won't be threatened if someone shows me the evidence for the other way. I'll say, oh, great, take that into consideration. So I'm open-minded. I'm not clinging to any belief. And this is what I have to teach, if you want to call it that. Don't cling. Be your own self in this moment. That's where the wisdom is. It's the wisdom of living. It's a living wisdom. You don't need a shaman to teach you that. I'm not going to shake any smoke on you or whatever. That's window dressing. It's bullshit. Burn some sage and all that. Come on. That's silly. It's hypnotic. Oh. See, and pretty soon everybody's going, yeah, this guy's got the power. And I don't. And that's I'm coming clean. I told you I decided to be honest 13 or 12 years ago, whenever it was. And that happened because I started out doing some spiritual teaching. Kind of got tricked into it by my friend Robert Hall. He was a head of a Buddhist Sangha and sent a few people to me. He wanted to get me into this. And I found that after a while, I was lying. I don't mean making things up, but I mean when I was asked a question, I would speak as if I really knew about it, but it wasn't knowledge. It was something that I'd heard, and now I'm just making use of it. See, well, that's when I quit that. I told these people, I can't see you anymore. I'm really retired now. And I just stayed silent for a while. And then when I began to talk about these things, I talked about them in a human way without saying I have some special knowledge, because I don't. And neither does anyone else, I say. And that's the message that I have to give that I think has gotten people interested in what I'm saying. There's a certain kind of person who needs to be deprogrammed from this spirituality overlay, which is a hypnotic trance. There's nothing in it. I don't mean that. I feel like I'm giving a lecture, but I'll continue because I think this is an important point. And I guess you guys are tired. We've been going on here for 2 hours.
No.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes. Yeah, continue.
Okay. What we need to do is awaken from a trance that assigns too much prestige and power to human beings, much too much. We first and foremost, we are animals. Our closest relatives are chimpanzees and bonobos, and then the gorillas, and we are very much like them. If we observe their behavior, we can see the same thing in ourselves. I have posted photographs that showed a couple of I think they were bonobos with their bonobo baby. And I'm quite sure that if I went to your household some time ago and you had the infant and the two of you were getting along and you had the infant, it would have been just the same vibrations. And the fact that you might have been thinking something different about the universe or whatever, that's small. And the real thing is the young babies being fed and protected. So, see, this is, I am life affirming and spirituality denying person. I don't like spirituality. I think some of it's okay. There's a fraction, a few percent of it is interesting. And the rest of it is just a way of feeling guilty and feeling that you have to be different from what you are. And that it's not okay to be human, just human. You have to be spiritual. No, you don't. You don't have to be spiritual to be human. You can be entirely interested in hula hoops if that's what you want. You'll still be a human. You have every right. You don't have to ever think about psychology or philosophy or psychedelic drugs. It's not required. You don't have to get to. There's not this destination. See, it's the journey. So I just spoke of pure platitude. It's golden. Robert just spoke of pure platitude. It's the journey. See, and that's so you hear that, and it's a refrigerator magnet, and then they say, "Oh, this guy Robert, he really fixed me up. You should go see him next week," and everything. And then I hire an assistant, and the money starts to come in. You see, this is corrupt. It's just pure corruption, and that's what I speak out against. It's that simple. Okay, I've spoken a long time. What's on your agenda?